Breaking news, a car goes up in flames right in front of Dale's Donuts as protests in Paramount get out of control and spill into Compton. And tensions escalate, officers in riot gear firing tear gas at protesters who are pushing back on immigration raids. Then people throwing stuff and banging on Border Patrol cars as they pass through crowds. Meanwhile, another crowd tries to block a U.S. Marshal Service bus. Federal law enforcement officers used tear gas and flashbangs to clear away the crowd. Tonight, U.S. Attorney Bill Saley says federal agents arrested over a dozen people who impeded agents. Let's get right to KCAL News reporter Zach Boetto live in Compton. Zach, what's happening? What are you seeing right now? But Governor Newsom says the federal government is moving to take over the California National Guard and deploy 2,000 soldiers. Newsom goes on to say that move is purposefully inflammatory and will only escalate tensions. And President, quote, if Governor Gavin Newsom of California and Mayor Karen Bass of Los Angeles can't do their jobs, which everyone knows they can't, then the federal government will step in and solve the problem. Riots and looters the way it should be solved. Earlier, let's take a listen to this. And just before officers used tear gas and rubber bullets, protesters tried to block a U.S. Marshal bus from driving through the crowd. See the horn honking, the face-to-face between the bus and the protesters, not to mention the flashbangs going off in the background. And this is another moment captured on camera. Protesters going face-to-face with a law enforcement vehicle and throwing what looked to be milk and other objects at a U.S. Customs and Border Patrol vehicle. And over in Inglewood, citizen video shows someone being stuffed inside a Border Patrol car. A few people were outside of the car protesting law enforcement. It's unclear if this was part of a larger raid or who the person was being taken. We've reached out to federal officials but haven't heard back yet. One of the nation's largest labor unions remains in federal custody. Service Workers Union President David Huerta is accused of interfering with the LA immigration raids. The U.S. attorney says Huerta was blocking an ICE detention van. The union says Huerta was injured during the arrest and had to be taken to the hospital. Huerta is expected in court on Monday.
That these dummies in the Democrat Party are still around and getting elected. I can't believe that these dummies in the Democrat Party are still around and getting elected. The President of the United States was awake last night, concerned about our law enforcement officers. Pete Hegseth was involved. Everybody was there. What can we do to bring peace? What can we do to bring stability? What do we do when we have guys like Hakeem Jeffries standing up in front of the world and saying it's okay to kill ICE. It's okay to throw things at law enforcement officers. It's okay to do that. That's not okay. Not in America. We have rules. We have laws. When people are murderers and rapists, they have consequences, and we are going to make sure that they face consequences. But those statements put out by Newsom and Karen Bass is absolutely ridiculous, because what we need is action right now. I mean, be people that are leaders for once. And let's not go back to 2020 when they were burning down the city of Minneapolis and you had people like Tim Walz encouraging it. I mean, this has been going on now by Democrat politicians for years, and that's why Donald Trump is in the White House. He's every single American. And I'm so proud to work for him. I can't believe it.
Get this video. All right, this is what we're seeing right now. Marcos Lopez, the suspended sheriff of Osceola County, he made his first court appearance via Zoom from jail this morning on felony racketeering charges. You're watching this video right now. Lopez was taken into custody yesterday look at that. So now for more on what he's charged with, we're going to bring into the conversation.
To commit alien smuggling in violation of Title 8 U.S.C. 1324. We want to thank President Bukele for agreeing to return Abrego Garcia to the United States. Our government presented El Salvador with an arrest warrant, and they agreed to return him to our country. We're grateful to President Bukele for agreeing to return him to our country to face these very serious charges. This is what American justice looks like. Upon completion of his sentence, we anticipate he will be returned to his home country of El Salvador. The grand jury found that over the past 9 years, Abrego Garcia has played a significant role in an alien smuggling ring. They found this was his full-time job, not a contractor. He was a smuggler of humans and children and women. He made over 100 trips, the grand jury found, smuggling people throughout our country, MS-13 members, violent gang terrorist organization members throughout our country. Thousands of illegal aliens were smuggled. This is especially disturbing because Abrego Garcia is also alleged with transporting minor children. The defendant traded the innocence of minor children for profit. There are even more disturbing facts that the grand jury uncovered. It is alleged this defendant is part of the same smuggling ring responsible for the death of more than 50 migrants in 2021 after the tractor trailer overturned in Mexico. This is part of that same ring. The defendant abused undocumented alien females, according to co-conspirators who were under his control while transporting them throughout our country. This defendant trafficked firearms and narcotics throughout our country on multiple occasions. They were using vehicles, SUVs, with added seats in the back, floors that had been ripped out, guns, narcotics, children, women, MS-13 members. That is what the grand jury found. A co-conspirator alleged that the defendant solicited nude photographs and videos of a minor. A co-conspirator also alleges the defendant played a role in the murder of a rival gang member's mother. These facts demonstrate Abrego Garcia is a danger to our community. We want to thank the Department of Homeland Security, the FBI, our state and local partners, our acting U.S. Attorney Robert McGuire, and prosecutors from the Joint Task Force Vulcan.
And the LAPD just issuing a citywide tactical alert.
Immigration protests after a day of ICE raids in L.A. Police in riot gear moving in as protesters move around downtown L.A.
And this was late this evening, law enforcement firing tear gas at protesters outside the federal building. People in the crowd throwing that tear gas back.
The violence, the protests, the arrests, all triggered by widespread immigration raids across L.A. today.
We have
a block away from the federal complex, the federal building complex where the detention center is. You can see this skirmish line of officers here right now. There's basically like just a handful of protesters still here, and police officers have been on the loudspeaker telling them over and over again, if they don't leave or if they come back, they will be arrested. This is just the remnants of what was a much larger crowd earlier, and you saw just a couple of clips there of just how intense and, violent things got when activists and protesters started throwing things and objects into the federal complex and at officers and agents there, and they responded with some intense force.
lot more tents out here in the last couple of minutes, and LAPD has arrived as well. Usually LAPD stays away from any of these type of raids, but in this case it is crowd control is why they're here and what's going on. Moments before we went live, there was a large crowd in front of this gate right here. They opened that gate up to allow a van that looks like the one that's in there in as to possibly to take away some other people, or even maybe some of their own FBI and other agents that are in that area, because there is a number of them, meaning probably about 20 or more inside that fenced area. While that was going on, a large scuffle took place. People were trying to block the van. Agents came out and were actually physically fighting with some of those protesters, and one of them got tossed to the ground. That person taken into handcuffs later, but that was when the crowd really started to gang up on those agents. They brought them inside the store, inside this building, and that's the reason why the fire department is here. The fire department showed up basically for medical use.
Back to that breaking news of ICE raids happening in several locations across LA.
Let's get up to Rich Prickett. He's overhead one of those locations in downtown Los Angeles, the Fashion District. Rich?
Yeah, Glenn and Korean, we are back in the Fashion District.
Tear gas, flashbangs, angry crowds, and heavily armed and armored U.S. immigration and customs enforcement agents marked a volatile Friday in the heart of Los Angeles during a series of immigration sweeps. Agents swarmed into at least 3 locations. Agents swarmed into at least 3 locations looking for suspected immigration law violators. The blowback was fast and fierce, with some protesters jumping in front of law enforcement vehicles to prevent them from moving.
They did need to bring in some backup here.
KTLA was in the air and on the ground